My name is Kevin Concha. We're here with Bill McElroy from Eldersburg, Maryland. And we're going to take a brief tour along 32 and 26, which was the home to the, how do you say it?
Bevard Farm.
The Bevard Farm?
Harry Bevard Farm.
And about to what year can you remember the Bevards having the property?
Well, I was a year and a half old when we left North Carolina. I was born in 38. So, and we moved to Carroll County here. And I've been here ever since. I'm 71 plus now. So you can see it's been quite a few years. And there was nothing around here then but farms.
Nothing but farms.
And a store and a gas station and a Fleming's Fuel Oil Company.
Where was this was like a general store?
Yes, a little grocery store.
Where was that?
Softener's grocery store. At the intersection 26 and 32.
Oh, okay, so we're gonna pass there.
Yes.
Okay.
And Fleming's Petroleum was right beside it, on the same corner. It would be the west side of 32.
Were they both paved roads then?
Yes, there's paved roads.
Okay.
Yep. But they didn't have red lights, none of that, just stop signs. Had a tea room on the south side of 32 and 26.
A what?
A tea room.
Oh, a tea room?
Tea room.
To go and have tea?
Yeah, well, you can buy food and stuff, but it's just called tea room, Softener's tea room.
Oh, I see.
And they had an Exxon, back then it was called Esso gas station, Mr. George Gardner's Exxon station. And they had Mr. Randall's shop behind the station was a blacksmith shop. And the farmers around here kept him kind of busy. And my mom passed away in 72, and not long after that's when they started selling off parts of the Bevard Farm, and they started building all the shopping centers and stuff. And Carroll Town Mall here was the first one.
What that was like in the 70s.
Yeah, that's when they started. That's when it started. And of course, and as the years went on, you know, more and more property was sold and more building. And they built the Home Depot, Martin's grocery store, Kentucky Fried Chicken, what's it called, Cheesy or something like that.
Those are more recent.
Yeah, this is more recent, but I'm saying back in the early 70s, middle 70s, they started selling off a lot of the property, and B&B Bank was one of the first ones to buy property at the corner of 32 and 26.
Okay.
And it just started after that, you know, different, I guess, contractors buying property and started building things. And today it's so much heavily populated, and the roads really can't handle the traffic now. I mean, it's a mess. And of course, our legislators, commissioners in Westminster, they made a mess out of a lot of things.
Oh.
And they're like all the other politicians in Washington, D.C. Once they get in there, they no longer, you know, serving the people, but they like to be served by the people.
Uh-huh.
And that's one of the problems with our governments today, federal and local.
So what more can you remember? What can you tell me about?
Well, I grew up on the Bevard Farm.
Okay, the Bevard Farm.
And went to school at Sykesville.
You went to, I guess Sykesville was the high school then?
Yeah.
The high school?
Now it's an elementary school now, but that's down in Sykesville off of 32. And I got out of school. I went a month and a half in 9th grade and got married in 1960.
You got married right around here?
Yeah.
I mean, is the church?
Up on Woodbine Road.
What's the name of the church up there?
Morgan Chapel Church,
Oh,
Methodist Church.
Oh, okay.
I got married there in 1960. And got 2 wonderful children, a boy and a girl. And I got 6 grandchildren now, 4 girls and 2 boys. The Lord has blessed me tremendously.
And so, once again, so We're right here at the McDonald's. Is this technically would have been the Bevard Farm?
No, this is not the Bevard Farm.
Okay.
That's west on 26, which I'll show you.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you're ready to roll, we'll roll.
Let's roll.
Now, Mr. Bevard himself, when he died, he was 99 years, 11 months, and 13 days old when he died on Christmas Day, and he had about 3 foot of snow. And his son, Wakeman Bevard, lived on a corner of Bennett Road and 32. And his children, they pretty much took over things, and children started selling off the properties. Like I say, that's when the building started. It used to be nothing but county out here, but today you never know that. There's so much building going on. And back then, people here in Carroll County, we never knew what drugs was. And people started moving out of the cities out here and building. And along came the drugs, along came theft, everything with it. And it's sad when you see a community that once was really a pleasure to live in to be like that today. And,
so as we travel along 32 here, or
we're on
26, excuse me.
Heading west towards the intersection of 32 and 26 here in Eldersburg.
So essentially everything on the right of 26 here.
Now starting right here at this bank, the K Bank, Arby's, all that property here on the north side of 32 or 26 is all part of the Bevard Farm.
Okay.
The Sunoco station, got doctor's offices, Carroll County medical centers, and this is the Walmart store, PNC Bank.
So you were saying you used to squirrel hunt all back through there?
Back off of Bennett Road, yeah.
Okay.
Wonderful place to squirrel.
So we're turning right onto...
Now this is a B&B Bank at the corner of 26 and 32. That was one of the first project was built on the Bevard Farm. And where Walgreen is on our left would be the west side of 32. That was all part of the Bevard property all the way out to Bennett Road on 32. That was also part of the property. And here's the new Safeway. Well, that's used to be giant and been sold, and Safeway's in here now, and all the different stores.
So what was the squirrel hunting like?
Wonderful.
Wonderful?
A lot of squirrels. A lot of hickory nuts, acorns, dogwood trees. This is a restaurant I was trying to think of, Chili's. And then there's your Kentucky Fried Chicken. You got the Home Depot. This is all on Georgetown Boulevard, or Londontown Boulevard they call it. But this was a driveway into the whole home place where I used to live.
What can you remember about Sykesville High School? I don't know much about that.
Well, it was really just like any other high school. All us kids went to her, and after you got so many people started moving out here in Bellland, they had to build new schools, and that became a elementary school down there because it burnt down actually.
What do you remember?
They built it back. They did ever since then. It's been an elementary school.
When did it burn down?
Gosh, I don't remember the year.
Was it before or after you attended?
Oh, it's well after I attended.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And they've got a new school now out here on the west side of 32, across the new post office. That's Century High School. And this is a new gas station they're building at Martin's store here. Got a Susquehanna Bank here. And this over here is a Summerlin funeral parlor.
What do you remember about the farm itself? Can you remember like?
Well, we used to farm, Bevard Farm, and he leased it to Mr. Parrish, and Wilmer Huff was the farm boss. And my brother and I, we used to help out on it. And Mr. Bevard's son, Wakeman, I used to drive the tractor and harrow and disc the fields. Used to cap wheat, cut it and cap it, and the barley. It was just the thing that people done back then. It's the way we used to have to farm. You didn't have all the modern equipment that we have today.
So
this is a Merritt Athletic Club here.
And we're turning on to Bennett Road now?
Bennett Road.
Okay.
We're going east on Bennett Road. And the property goes on back here. I'll show you where a hedgerow is, where the dividing line was of the Bevard property and the next farm. A lot of good memories around here. All this on the left side, north side of Bennett Road, all these big homes you see, that was all woods, and that's where we squirrel hunted.
Squirrel hunting?
Yeah.
What did you say you had earlier? Squirrel?
Squirrel gravy and biscuits.
Squirrel gravy and
It
biscuits.
is delicious. Now there's a hedgerow divides the Bevard property to the next property.
That hedgerow out in the distance there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Right behind you.
I'm sorry, the Bevard and what?
The next farm is the Dotson Farm. The old Dotson place, they called it. Dotson Farm.
Dotson Farm?
Yep. Now it's all houses.
Indeed.
And this property you see on our left now, that's all part of the Bevard property. That was given to Wakeman Bevard from Mr. Bevard. His dad gave it to him when they got married and started housekeeping and everything and started farming.
And so there's, what was the...
And it's, like I say, it's all homes built in here now. I mean,
Oh, yeah. So,
it was a good place to grow up as a kid, as a child.
well, what was good about it?
Everything.
Everything?
The people, like I say, it was mostly farms, and people knew each other. People helped each other. You could go away and stay for a month. All you had to do is shut your door. You didn't have to lock it. Nobody bought anything. In fact, the neighbors would look out for you. And it, like I say, we didn't know what drugs was when we went to school. We didn't have it in our schools until all the city people. Now, I'm not going to not have nothing against city people, but that's when all the stuff, the drugs and the robbery and all the other stuff started, is when people started moving out of the city out into Carroll County.
Where are we turning here? From...
Ready to turn on Oklahoma Road. And we're going back towards 26, going south.
So we're essentially going the...
That's the little stream my brother used to trout fish in. Come home from school, grab his rod, and come over and catch a native trout.
Where'd your bus stop at?
Up on 32, at the entrance where I told you Chili's and all was, that was the main drive went into our home place.
Was Bennett Road there?
Oh yeah.
So you used to walk down...
I'm talking about the road back this side of Bennett Road there, where Chili's, Kentucky Fried Chicken all is, London Town Boulevard.
Oh, so you used to walk down London Town I mean...
Well, we lived down that street. It went in the dead end of Mr. Bevard's big house down at the lower end. And right before we got to his place, we turned left, went out the driveway to our home. Little brown, 4-bedroom shingle house. Tin roof, no insulation.
Uh-huh.
In the summertime, my dad had aluminum screen wire over the windows. He'd pull a nail out each side, set the window down the floor so we'd get air, cross vent. Had a spring for our water, had no running water. Had outside toilet.
Well, now, the spring itself is still there.
When they started selling the property, the law is they had to cover it over and pipe it on down to the lower end of the property. They weren't allowed to fill it in. They're not allowed to do that.
So on your farm was the spring that's now the pond at London Fog.
The lower end of the pond, London Fog, is where the pond is. That came from our spring.
Okay. Which is buried under all the...
It's all under the earth now.
Okay.
So let me ask you a question. How long have you been around here?
I've been around a good part of my life, I guess, since maybe the early 80s, early 1980s. Do you remember when you once told me about the flood around here and what it did down in Sykesville?
Yeah, the Agnes flood in '72. It wiped out the railroad down there. Ellicott City, it was all flooded. And that's the Patapsco River in Sykesville.
You say you remember the steel bridge?
Oh, it was wiped away, and it wrapped it around trees. You think it was made out of tinfoil the way it bent that steel. And of course, they had to build a new bridge. But Ellicott City was all flooded. Most of the whole city was flooded down there. I guess 2/3 from the bottom back to the west end of town was all flooded, and it destroyed a lot of places. I mean, you know, that it was just flooded out, especially the low-lying areas, and where they had rivers and streams around. The water it came down so hard and so fast that the water had no place to go to. It just had to build up, and that's what caused all the damage.
There's still pieces of that bridge down in Sykesville in the water.
This is Arby's, and this is a little shopping center here on Georgetown Boulevard. It used to belong to George Measure-Dash. I don't know who owns it now, if he's still part owner or not.
George
Measure-Dash.
Oh, okay.
And we're coming in now to where the old London Fog building is. That's on your right-hand side, and there's the pond that comes from the spring that we used to get our water from.
Oh.
And I'll show you where that was at.
You carried the water back to the house?
The spring is right below the house. We didn't have to carry it far at all. It was maybe 30, 40 feet. Now this building here, it's in there. It's got a GSE Systems, some kind of a business in there where London Fog used to be. And also Signature franchises. Whatever they do, I think they rent trailers. And
so you and your family, forgive me, you said that Mr. Broward owned a farm and you had like a...
we rented.
You had like a tenant house?
Yeah, we rented from him.
Uh-huh.
And I think it started out like $10 a month or something like that.
$10 a month.
That was a lot of money back then, because a dollar's worth a dollar then.
Uh-huh.
You got to remember, that's back in, see, I was born in 38, so 39. Just before 40, we moved to Maryland. Came up here for work. We ended up staying. So as you can see...
You came from North Carolina to Maryland for work.
In the Smoky Mountain, western part of North Carolina.
And what kind of work did you get? You moved right onto the farm?
My dad, he came up here, and we farmed. He worked on a farm. And Ralph Black was a farm boss for Jim Bruce. And he worked there till during the war, and during the Depression and stuff, it got so bad, you know, it's just, it got rough around here. In fact, it was everywhere. Anybody that lived back during the Depression can tell you how bad it was. So we've been around the block.
Thanks so much for...
I don't know if that'll help you or not, but like I said, Carroll County used to be a wonderful place to live, and it's just gotten so crowded now, and there's much building going on, and
we can still enjoy some of it though.
I mean, it's handy as far as, you know, the stores, the doctors and stuff, everything is close and all like that.
And you and I know about some nice places to go still.
And it's just so much traffic when you try to go there where people laugh, and I kid them. I say, look, if you're going through Eldersburg, you might want to pack a lunch, because time you get from one end to the other, you're ready to eat again. There's so many lights, every direction. And it's because every street, they have lights. And but as you can see on our tour around, how much populated it is right here in this one little area.
Mm-hmm.
And you haven't seen nothing in comparison to what's in Carroll County, at the homes and stuff that they are.
Mm-hmm.
It's just unbelievable how it's built up. and it's really no more much county to it anymore. The most of the open land is more to the north and northwest of Carroll County. See, we're on the southern end of Carroll County.
Here in Eldersburg.
Yeah, down in Sykesville, where the Patapsco River, that's the dividing line. You cross that river, you're in Harrow County. So, but most of the farmland, what's left anymore, open land, is back towards Tonytown, Littlestown, and back Westminster and all back that way.
Yeah.
Till you get up on Route 30, before you get into Hanover, where the Carroll County line is. And it's like I say, we're on the lower end of it. And it's really built up.
Tell me a little bit about, what were you saying earlier about the racing? You actually you raced?
Oh yeah, Bobby Galladay and I, we used to run a rail up 75 and 80.
What's a rail?
Rail car, there's no top on it. You know, it's just you have a roll bar on it, big wide tires on the back, little skinny tires on the front, drag strip.
Okay.
A drag strip at 75 and 80. That's up off of Route 70, which used to be Route 40.
Okay. Out towards...
Yeah, south side of that. It's wind back in there. Road really winded back through there to where the track actually was, but it's called 75 and 80.
What town was the track?
It really wasn't no town that close to the track.
But it was out 70 towards the mountains?
Yeah, going towards Frederick.
Okay.
It'd be the west side of Route 70. I was trying to think and name a little place that's back in there, but I can't remember what it is now. That's been a long time. And a friend of mine, we ran stock car races all over Pennsylvania, Winchester, Virginia Airport Speedway, Langhorne, which is way up in Pennsylvania, north, and Williams Grove.
Now, stock car racing, that wasn't dangerous.
Oh yeah. Used to use, most people back then used what they call 32 Ford coupes, and they put their V8 engine, build them up, flathead engines and stuff, and that's, yeah, of course you had roll bars all welded in and your seat welded in and everything. And Alan McCall, a good friend of ours from Fargo, Minnesota, he came down here and we got together, and he was the one that drove, and that man definitely knew what he was doing. Out in Watertown, South Dakota, Fargo, all out through there, he had a shoebox full of newspaper clippings where McCall wins again, McCall takes first place, McCall this, McCall that.
He was your friend?
Yeah, he was a welder and I guess good a mechanic he was all around. The man definitely knew his stuff. I mean, he was really gifted for that.
What years were you racing?
In the latter part of the 50s. Latter part of the 50s. Middle to the latter part.
Did you do any racing around these roads up in here on your way to the track?
No. We don't ever racing on the track.
Oh, okay.
Now, that don't mean I never broke a speed limit once in a while, but, you know. But basically, we done most of that on the track. Mm-hmm. That's where it's the safest. And but we had a lot of fun growing up, you know, as a child. And like I said, it was a good place to grow up and to raise a family and everything. And then one day in Sykesville, along the Patapsco River, I met a gentleman down there who was stuck in the mud. His name was Kevin Kotcha. And I actually had a thing and I pulled him out, and that's how I met you.
Hey, it's been a real pleasure talking with you today.
And then you ran out of gas one time, and I had to take and get gas. And I used to laugh at you with that uniform you had on.
It's been
all your bird watching.
Yep, it's been a real pleasure. Thanks for sharing with us today.
And I thank God he sent you along my path.
Thanks for talking with us.
You're welcome.